KwaZulu-Natal Finance Department says National Treasury has allocated just over R1 billion in flood relief. The Transport Department will receive more than half of that. It's now 7 months since the devastating April floods caused widespread damage to infrastructure in the province. For more on this, we're joined by Bongi Sithole-Moloi, who is the acting MEC of Finance in that province. MEC, thank you so much for making time. So over R1 billion that has been or will be coming from Treasury, where is it going to go to? What is more urgent?
Thank you, program. The amount of 1.1 billion will go to social development, which is going to receive 48.5 million. With those funds, they are going to utilize to protect for the protection and caring of the victims placed in shelters. They will bring for the young children and infants the food and material that is needed for them. The other amount of 95.1 million will go to Department of Education to rehabilitate and reconstruct the schools that has been damaged during the floods. And we also have Vote 12, which is transport. Transport is receiving 589.3 million towards the provincial road maintenance grant for the repair of the provincial roads and that were damaged by the floods. We have those departments that are going to get those amounts. And also we have other department has to reprioritize their budget to ensure that they respond to the victims. Hence, we are talking about 3.1 billion that is going to be utilized for the response to the floods in the province. We also have received the donor funding from a number of donors who were touched by the situation that we find ourselves in the province, and we receive an amount that was 10.1 million. In that amount, we then agree that we are going to take 3 million and allocate it to education also. That was from Hotosan, who gave the money and specifically directed us to give to them. And 100,000 was also allocated to health, because Dr. Nondumiso Mzizana did request that we give that amount to Department of Health. We have 2.6 million that was going to be allocated to the Office of the Premier. It was an AU fund, and that fund is to await a situation whereby we are still looking for other victims that have not recovered their bodies. Their bodies has not been recovered, and families are still waiting. We are saying that in the event where others are found, we will then be able, the Premier will lead the families in ensuring that they are buried in a very decent way. The 2.2 million is also allocated to human settlement as the fund that is going to assist in relocating those families that are staying in the centers that like schools and halls. We are saying that those people who are staying in mass care centers must be taken out before the end of the year. Actually, the MEC for Human Settlement has clearly identified and said that by the 15th of December, he should actually be completed the process. And also, we have given also another 2.2 million to Department of Social Development, and the donor funder said that it must be given to them so that they will be able to ensure that they deal with the amenities of those families that are in the shelters.
Yeah. Is this the first batch that is coming from Treasury? I mean, it's been 7 months. Is this the first amount of money that Treasury releases to respond to for relief?
Yes, it is the first batch, and hence I have indicated that in the meantime we did actually ask our department to reprioritize, and the entities of our government to reprioritize their budget so that we mediate and mitigate the situation until the National Treasury is able to go before the Parliament and then allocate as the amount that it is allocating now.
What led to the delay in releasing the funds? Because I remember at the time Treasury was saying they haven't received any application from the KwaZulu-Natal government for that relief funding? They said there was documentation that was required. Do you think that your officials dropped the ball in responding after that crisis so that they sent the relevant documentation to Treasury to speed up this amount of money, making it to KZN, given that the need is so great? I mean, the money you've mentioned, yes, it's coming handy from the donors, but you need this Treasury money so that you respond fast and as effectively as possible.
One will not say entirely it is on our side that we did not fast track the process of applying. All the meetings were led by COPTA as the people who are responsible for outlining and also declaring disasters, national and provincial. They have led the process, and all the documents were sent. And there were issues that we could not find each other with the National Treasury, and all those were sorted, and hence now we are able to be given that amount. So I don't want to blame the National or blame anyone, but it was the issues of compliance on some of the matters by the National and also by us as the province. But we were able to cross that bridge, and now we are able to say. But I want also to record that irrespective that we announced that this is the amount, already work has been done. Some of the families, about 200 and odd of families, have been taken out of the mass centers where they were staying. And that has been done by Human Settlement and Social Development working together and eThekwini. So we are saying that irrespective that you can see, we are announcing it now that this is the amount that has been allocated, but the work has been done by respective department, taking from their funds that they have in their budget to try and mitigate the situation that we find ourselves. Yeah. It did not took us 7 months, but we were able to deal with it immediately after we have this incident.
My understanding is that the damage is estimated at about 17 billion or so. This is only 1 billion coming from Treasury. You've managed to get, about 15 million and probably more than that from the donations, organizations like the AU. You mentioned Tsogosan earlier. There's still a lot of money you're going to need to just broadly respond. As I say, the damage estimated at 17 billion rand. How much more are you expecting from Treasury again, and when are you expecting that? And how are you galvanizing and trying to get extra sources of funding, and you're not just looking at the government? In other words, are you having conversations with the private sector?
Yes, we are having conversation led by the Premier with the private sector to ensure that the amount that we still in need of is going to be mitigated as such. But I want to say, as we speak, we have put aside 5.3 billion, inclusive of the amount that I've already spoken about, 3.1, which is in addition to the amount that the National Treasury has given us. So we are going to continue to see where else can we get the money. But in the human settlement, there are those that have been affected by the floods, but are part of the projects of a human settlement. Those ones are covered by that. Hence, the amount will reduce because of identifying those that are still in need of housing.
Yeah. How are you ring-fencing these funds, MEC, so that you don't end up with a case where money has been stolen, some of the money has not been used appropriately or for appropriate intended projects? So what systems have you put in place? I know at some point the Auditor General was brought into the province to help out. Has that helped, number one? But number two, what processes are you putting in place to ensure that we're not going to have a conversation about money that was meant for relief that's been stolen?
We are going to use the same system that we have been using during the COVID-19 to assess the progress and also assess the departments that have been allocated these funds, and including the municipalities. I want to also to say that there are other funds that have been given direct to municipalities. which are meant for disaster response. So we have put a system that is going to monitor and have monthly report on saying that how far and how much are they going to use, to ensure that they are used for the purpose and also are being spent in timelessly as expected by us as Treasury.
Yeah, and since the AG's office came to the province, has there been any progress?
With regard to how we manage funds, our finances, yes, there is progress because they are assisting us where there are gaps to say, in this one, if you can do this and ensure that people are complying. Where there was a need also for the people to be taken, to take responsibility, then that was also taken care of.
All
for
right.
the consequence management, there has been applied in departments that have been identified.
All right. The KZN Acting Finance MEC Bongi Sithole-Moloi, thank you so much for making time for us this afternoon.